I want to explain the audience is like when we talk about PwC in India, so there are two offices basically in India. One is the
Yeah.
PwC Acceleration Centers, and the other one is PwC India. So the basic difference lies here is like PwC India caters the Indian practice, like they cater the business of the Indian firms, whereas the
Yeah.
PwC Acceleration Center supports the PwC global firms, right?
So, like looking back, was there a defining moment or experience, that set your path on the your career on the path where you are right now? Hi guys, welcome to yet another episode of Skilled Sapiens Podcast. I'm your host Himanshi Singh, and today we have our guest Ansh Agrawal, who's an assurance associate in PwC, is a graduate from Christ University, Bangalore, from BCom honors, and has been a former place commer in his college. Hi Ansh, welcome on board.
Hi guys. Hi, Amanchi. It was
Hi
a
Ansh.
great pleasure to, be a part of this session.
Yes, same here, same here. So, can you explain, you're working in such a prestigious company? First of all, congratulations for making it to a company like PwC. So, will you be explaining us, giving us some insight about your work role, your job profile, and your all about your work in PwC?
Sure. So the very first thing, I want to explain the audience is like when we talk about PwC in India, so there are two offices basically in India. One is the
Yeah.
PwC Acceleration Centers, and the other one is PwC India. So the basic difference lies here is like PwC India caters the Indian practice, like they cater the business of the Indian firms,
Yeah.
whereas the PwC Acceleration Center supports the PwC global firms, right? So I am a part of PwC Acceleration Center, wherein I support all the US clients, right? All the
Okay.
US publicly listed companies in the US stock market. So the day-to-day life, at my job is basically I'm a part of a statutory audit team, wherein we used to check the authenticity of the transactions which have happened during the year. So basically we perform the end-to-end audit procedures of the client for the US clients basically. So that's how my job, my day look like in an PwC. Yeah.
Okay. So, like through your experience in the corporate world, what are some of the unexpected things that have come to your way, and you have learned new things about yourself?
So the very first thing, so I was so it's been 2 years I have associated with PwC AC now, Acceleration Center. So the very first, unexpected thing. So it is, when we talk to people, when we talk to our seniors, so we have a conception that everybody around the firm, or maybe, we will have a full support for seniors and all. But one thing I would like to tell that at many times you have to challenge yourself at
Yeah.
each every day. You have to challenge yourself, and you have to keep learning things by your own at many times. So this is one of the thing which I want to bring forward, because what happens, you challenge yourself, you come up with a problem, and then you only come up with a solution. So this is very
Yeah.
beautiful thing of the corporates is what I believe, because this also brings you, many of the interpersonal skills that you may achieve to solve problems in your day-to-day life as well. So this is one of the things that I wanted to share with the audience.
Okay. So, like looking back, was there a defining moment or experience, that set your path on the your career on the path where you are right now?
Yeah, so this is very when I look back at my journey, so I feel so satisfied and so happy, because
Okay.
being yeah, exactly. So because being a student, and being a person who did majority of the studies during COVID time, so we did not have much access to the offline resources, which is basically termed as the main source of exposure right now.
Yeah.
But and that time, you did not have much of the knowledge as well, because we were very young at that time, like what to do, what not to do. So the very basic thing I did was I focused on the practical approach of learning, right? I just not, focused on the theoretical aspect. Rather, I went ahead for the practical approaches of the learning. So that was one thing I think that helped me clear all the interviews. So during placements at college, and also the crack a few offline interviews as well, like apart from placement that happens in the college. So I think you should focus on basics was where the very first thing. Secondly, you should focus on practical based approach of learning. If you are not getting those resources such as internships, professional courses, or any other, so you can create your own case studies. So I was, when I was not getting the internships and when I was not getting the proper professional courses to do, or the certification courses, so what I used to do, I used to see things that were around me, and then basis that I used to create a case study. For example, the very first example I want to give here is, like, I started investing during lockdown. So even though my portfolio grew, 2x, 3x, but and then people will say that that was a time because everybody made money. Companies went down, share price went down, and then it went up. But one thing I want to, I invested in those companies which I was seeing near me. For example, if I'm using a toothpaste, so a company manufacturing a toothpaste, I was investing in that. So that way I was able to identify the companies, and that way I did a research. So you can create your own examples and own case studies as well if you're not getting the formal resources that are available. So it's just you have to be consistent, you have to be, you have to be dedicated on what you want to become. So that's how you can, that's what my experience, and when I look back, so that helped me reach where I am today.
Yeah, because even I believe that practical learning these days is way more important than what you're
Exactly,
what you're learning through your books is just a part of your learning, but the practical
exactly,
learning
exactly,
is the majority of it. Like the main part, the main material which you're getting from your MBA, from your graduation is the practical learning which you're performing over there. Like learning
exactly,
in the lectures is a different thing, and performing the same in your day-to-day life is a total different thing. So what you are saying is
exactly,
something
exactly,
that what we are taught in the lectures, and then you're performing the same thing practically,
exactly. That's
emphasizing the
what
same
that's what
thing
I
in your
meant.
life. So to all
That's
the
what.
folks out there, hear him out loud that he has not just learned in the college sitting through the lectures, but also performed the same thing, performed everything practically. And like people nowadays are not nowadays, I believe since long back, people are more
Long, yeah,
emphasized on like brand, like PwC, Big
exactly,
Fours, and everything. So yeah, that is something like if you have made it to Big Four for once, then like your journey is smooth now. Now you'll switch to one, then another, then another. So that is one thing which lately we have recognized the trend. So for entering the Big Four, I believe it is very important for you to get out of the crowd. And to
exactly.
get out of the crowd, it is very important to do something different from the other people. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's absolutely fun.
And
Yeah.
what happens is, like, when you hunt for internships,
Yeah.
so majority of the internships are basically unpaid, right? So
Hmm.
that is the biggest red flag, I would say, in the industry. So to avoid yourself from that red flag, you can, that's what I was telling you, can create your own case studies, own examples, and own things to practice what you did, what you learn in your classroom. So that's
Yeah.
how you can just compensate for your red flags, and in the form of unpaid internships.
Yeah. So like what skills how do you approach your job your job search to find a company culture and the role that suits your personality? Like nowadays people are not able to realize that which role they are fit for, which company they are fit for. Like company, though I believe you can't choose, but the role
Exactly.
at least should be clear in your mind. So how to do that? Can you explain to the
See,
folks?
I'll explain this with a very basic example. So, for
Yeah.
example, if you want to become an actor, right?
Yeah.
So from day one, you cannot be a successful actor. You have to climb the ladder step by step, and to achieve to that position, you have to, serve as the assistant positions that are available for the actor, right? So maybe you have to work under, the director, or you have to work under the backstage team or the script writing team. So the point of me telling this example is, if you want to become an actor, so do not directly go to search for the, role that's led you to become an actor. Search for the role that can help you reach your desired role, right? So if I talk, about how to search for the desired roles, the very first thing I would say, in the initial years of your career, do not focus on the lifestyle which you want to achieve. For example, your preferred location, your preferred CTC, your preferred company. As Himanshi rightly said, that company we cannot choose, right? But what I would suggest is focus more on the exposure and the learning that you will get from the role, and how it will help you to reach your desired role, right? So the same thing I did. So there were, more than 100 companies that visited my campus, right, back then. So what I did, I just shortlisted those companies that directly aligns or indirectly aligns to, more than 50% of my career objective. If that was aligning, I was applying for that company. So that way I was able to, focus on the companies in a disciplined manner. And then, then you can just have to focus on the few steps. And the second thing I want to mention, so what happens generally, when I talk to people, and when I talk to, the students who are currently in college, what they do, let's say they fill a form for XYZ company they are applying for, and then they directly think ki, okay, I'll have an interview. Okay, and I'll be, I'll be getting to answer these questions, and after that I'll be placed. But no, there are many other rounds before interview. There is an aptitude round, resume screening, and then there will be team activities or group discussions, which is very less, but there can be there. So what I did during my time, I focused step by step. I did not directly prepare for interview, because see, I believe interview is a place where you get to talk to a person. So when you get to talk to a person, you can influence anybody, right? But resume, your aptitude cannot talk. So there you have to show your skills that, okay, you know the answer, that's why you are here. So focus on step by step thing. And thirdly, that one thing I learned, you are a fresher only once, right? So once you do any job, no matter how well you did in your last job, how much, you were getting paid, it doesn't matter at all. The very first thing which will be seen once you switch the company or apply for a new job after your first job will be what you can bring to the table. So again, going back to the, thing which I said a few minutes back, focus on the exposure learning, practical learning to be very precise, and focus on your basics. So this
Even
is
I would,
how I
yeah.
approached.
Yeah, even I would like to add up to this thing. Through your description, I have learned one sentence and I framed it in my mind like sit, observe, evolve, and execute. So this is the
Exactly,
whole process
exactly,
that you have told. So like you have to sit, observe, then evolve yourself according to the learnings you're getting, the practical learnings, and then execute your final step of getting into a placement and anything. Because that's the whole funda of getting a good placement, I believe, because
exactly,
until
exactly.
unless you're evolving with the time, with the changes in the market, in the company, the coming trends, you won't be able to survive in the market. That's the whole truth of a corporate culture, I believe.
Exactly. And if you focus on the experience, exposure, and the learnings in your initial days, so once you switch, after 1 or 2 years, so it will be very easy. Because what happens, I mean, obviously brands do matter, but
Yeah.
if you get the same amount of exposure and if you get the same amount of learning, so when you approach your next potential recruiter, so it is very easier for both of you to understand what will be aligning and what will not be aligning if they hire you.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah,
yeah, but Ansha, I also believe that even if you're working with a startup company, there's a lot of opportunity to learn. and grow.
Exactly.
Because you're working close knitted with the founder's office, you're working closely with the strategy
Exactly.
team, you're sitting and doing tasks, you're executing things, you're sitting for the long night meetings and everything. So you're closely knitted with the main team. And that also makes you like more confident enough to like sit with the higher management people and talk. So that's what
Yeah.
I have believed because I've seen people growing from a startup company, making it to big fours, and that happens when you like have learned something through your journey, and people have.
Exactly. So
So yeah,
yeah, so I was saying that, like, that's a very good debate, and I think if we step into that debate, so the session will not end.
yeah,
Like whether you should go for MNC or for a startup
no,
for a
no, no,
job.
no,
But as you rightly said, the amount of exposure, that's what I meant, right? See,
yeah,
brand is one thing, but you have to focus on exposure and experiences which you will be getting at your job. So
yeah.
prioritize that at least in your first 2 to 3 years of your career.
Yeah, actually, the right amount, how to actually utilize the right opportunity you're getting right now in your hand is the only possible way to get through your journey. Any
Exactly.
opportunity in your hand right now. So, like, what skill and experience did you prioritize developing early on the career that helped you land in the current position you are right now?
So see, you know, how should I say this? Like the things which we study, during our study period, or during our academic journey, everything is useful till you work, right? Till the time you will be working, everything is useful. It just the same thing will be coming to you with different challenges and with different approaches. So that's what I meant. You should focus on basics. If you are able to identify that what the area relates to, so you will be able to excel in that. So what happened with me at one of the interviews. So that was the interview for the core auditing role, right? So the interviewer asked me, tell me what is goodwill, right? So it is a very basic question. What
Yeah.
is goodwill in accounting? But then as soon as I started speaking, so he was like, no, I don't want to hear what is goodwill in an accounting language. I'm a 1 year old kid. I just started speaking. Now explain me what is goodwill. Right. So you have to have that acumen, you have to have that, mindset that the complex of things you should be able to, explain, and you should be able to, what to say, break down in the simplest form. So first thing is focus on basics. Second is like you should be able to, be, what to say, dynamic, and be ready for adaptability of the change, right? Because what is happening, like in the 2 years of my journey at PwC, I have seen many changes. Like we learn this software, we learn that software, and not more than a month we use it, and then we used to get introduced to other software or other methodology of working. So you have to be adaptable for the changes. And then third thing is like all those interpersonal skills like communication, team building, all those things are there. But also important, like so what I used to do for these kind of things, like whenever I used to make my college projects and all, instead of writing it in the notebook, I tried, I also was using various platforms while researching. So that way it helps you to identify the productivity tools which can increase your effectiveness and
Yeah,
efficiency, right?
yeah.
And then all those normal things like MS Excel and MS Office, all those things. But the very first thing is like you should be able to break down the complex of the things into the simplest forms.
Yeah, and even I also like rightly said by you that people should focus on the basics because nowadays what's happening is like people are more of focusing on the in-depth things about a particular topic, like a depth knowledge, but they're not focusing
Right.
on the very basic things which could be asked in the interview. And if by chance you have skipped that part, like if you have skipped the
Exactly.
basics and you have moved to the advanced level of any preparation, any topic, be it generic accounting topic or you're appearing for a marketing role and you don't even know what SEO is. Just giving you an
Yeah.
example. So,
Yeah.
how will you be able to like answer, even if you will be answering the major chunk of the questions, because you have missed that one small part, which is like something a crucial part of marketing and
Exactly.
is very important in day-to-day marketing life of a marketer. So that is one thing that could make a negative impact on the interviewer, I believe. And that's why it is very much important for all the folks out there to please learn the basics. Please get your hands strong on the basics portion, because that's something which would make you even more confident about your interviews and everything. So, like,
And
what
it,
are some, yeah.
yeah, I was saying like, and it also helps you to understand the root cause if you get stuck at any
Yeah,
point in time.
yeah, exactly. So, like, coming to your corporate life, so how does your company culture promote your work-life balance? Like, how do you strategize and like manage your time and health and everything?
So, I mean, this is very subjective, and we cannot
It is.
generalize this.
We
We
can't.
cannot generalize this because
That's why.
every,
That's why. Yeah, that's why
yeah,
we are learning it from different people. We are asking the same questions so that we are getting a
exactly.
research information of all the people, different perspective, working in different companies, so that what are the commonalities, then people would come to know later on. So yeah, continue.
So for myself, the approach what I follow is like, I keep my login time fixed. Okay, I'm not talking about the logout time because that can not be fixed, I guess. But I
Yeah.
keep my login time fixed. And before that, I make sure, 99% of the time I do not open my laptop, and I do not open the work profile in my laptop, in my phone as well, right? So I just keep away the work profile before my login time. So I keep that reserved for myself, yeah, that is like the morning time, basically like the daily chorus. And maybe you can just wake up early, have some walk outside, and then maybe you can read something, right? So I just keep that time for myself. So how it helps basically is like you get a straightforward 3 to 4 hours, and you can a lot of things can be done in the morning, which keeps you fresh and which keeps you motivated throughout the day. So that's one thing I do. And then secondly, sometimes what happens is like I utilize my time between the day as well. Okay, so for
Sure.
example, if I have to do something, maybe read something, or maybe write something, or whatever it is, and if I get time in between, so and if that can be done in between, like in the minimum of the time, or the time which I have, so I try to utilize that, right? So that way you get a shift of mind, maybe for a few minutes, but actually you get a break from your work. And then third thing I follow is like, if at any day I know that I'll be logging out at this particular time, right? So I make sure that I do the work before that. And again, the same thing, like I do not come back to my laptop after I log out, right? So you have to be very rigid in terms of logging in and logging out time. You have to set your boundaries by yourself, by understanding your needs, your wants, your what to say, your things, because nobody can, I mean, I can tell you how to manage time, but how to better utilize it, like the plan of action, how
Will
to
only you can
mold it.
decide.
Exactly.
So, like, did you have a clear career advancement plan when you started off with PwC, and how was your vision, your path with the company evolved with the time?
So if you ask me the one word answer for this, so I would say a
Okay.
no, right?
Okay.
But if I have to explain, so as I said, I was a student during COVID times. So there we had a lot of, a crunch for the resources. So the approach I followed that time was, like the potential opportunities that I might have after my college ends, right? I just made a list of all those things, and I just spent one entire day for each of the things. Okay, so for example, if there is a thing for a sales, right? So I just spent one entire day searching, researching about sales, learning about sales. And if you read something, if you learn something, and if it interests you for a day at least, I believe, so that way you can get an instinct that okay, I can continue. But even if it is not, if even and if it is getting unbearable maybe for a day as well, so you should understand that no, it's not something that meant for you. So I just did that. I took a pen and paper. I wrote down all the possible opportunities that I might have, and then basis that I just tried to find out what is for me. So basis that I found out, okay, the opportunities related to finance and accountancy are for me. And then basis on that, I started applying for the companies and the internships. So that way, once I figured that okay, finance and accountancy is for me, then I started about the internships, the placement opportunities, the professional course, the certificate course. So again, a step by step process, but a little of homework, like what you do, what not. But nowadays it's not a problem because you can get internships in your initial days at least. So what happens, maybe if you are a 3 year if you are in a 3 year course of undergraduate, so you get to do the summer internship after your second year, so you have 4 semesters to try, hit and try things. And 4 semesters is basically 2 years, so a lot of time you get. So that way you can just utilize and try out things. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, you have rightly explained all the things of a corporate career which a person should know before entering the corporate world. So now I'll be asking you three key advices that you would like to give to all the people out there who are about to enter the corporate world, all the MBA colleges wanted to make into a Big Four or any dream company of theirs. So, what are your three key advices to them?
So I think if I answer this question, so it will be more of a summary of what I said
Okay.
during the entire session, and the people who are listening right from the beginning may get a feeling that I'm saying the same things again and again, but they should understand, and you guys should understand that it's very important. So the three things I want to focus again, like focus on basics, practical approach of learning. Secondly, do not go for the fascinating things that you get as the benefits, or as the compensation. Just focus on the experiences, exposures, learning that you will be getting in the initial years. And third thing is, like, you have to understand that you know you have to set your boundaries. That's when you will be able to differentiate your professional life and personal life. And yeah, so these are the key three advices I want to give to the people who are listening to me today.
Okay. So thank you so much, Ansh. It was a really, really insightful session with you. Even I have learned a lot of things, and I'll surely accomplish the same in my life, in my corporate career upcoming. So thank you so much. And even I would say that to all the folks out there, please, whatever advices you're getting from your seniors, from your corporate buddies, please note it down. Just keep it in your head, because these are the things you won't be getting anywhere. Because these key advices, you sometimes it's not necessary for you to learn through your own mistakes. Learn from other people's learnings, and don't the corporate life isn't too isn't too big, it's very small. So yeah, just learn from other people's mistake and just keep growing with the time, keep evolving with the time. And thank you so much, Ansh, for such an insightful session. It's really, really pleasure hosting you out here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. One last thing I want to mention, to the audience is, like, as I said in the between as well, you are a fresher only once. So, until you have a tag of fresher, do utilize that to the fullest, because as soon as you enter your first job, no matter you get placed from your college or you search that opportunity through your own, but as soon as you enter your first job, you are not at all a fresher. And then the second time you search for a job, you have to prove yourself, no matter you apply for whatever role, and no matter you come from whatever role or background. So do utilize this tag from which you are privileged, that you are a fresher only once. And then again, it was a really a nice session. I have been to this session after very long, this kind of session. So it was great talking to Himanshi, and the people who are listening to me. I think I hope they get benefited from me. But
Yeah.
I just one last heads up, like in case anybody wants to talk about anything in detail, or anything, so they can reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. So yeah,
Sure,
it
sure.
it was
Thank
it
you.
was a nice talking to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
A-
thank
and
you
and
so
the
much, Ansh. Thank you so much. And to all the folks out there, guys, do like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Skilled Sapiens. Stay tuned to all the podcasts. Gonna help you a lot for your future and your career plans. Just stay tuned and do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you, guys.
thank you guys.